everybody, it's Wednesday and we're having a digging deep discussion with Monique Candelaria. We're going to be talking about healing, stones, acting, pride, and everything else. See you soon. Hey everybody, welcome to T.Skies Digging Deep, a show where we talk about local artists, leaders, and professionals about topics impacting our culture and community. And today we are with Monique Candelaria, and she is a local actor, artist, musician. She's got so many hats that we could be here all day talking about everything.
Well, that's why I call myself a shifter. In other words, like, we by nature are consistently shifting. Especially if you're a creative being.
Yes.
Like, you're going to find that you wear all kinds of hats. You're like, yeah, sure, I'm an actor, but I'll hold that boom mic, and sure, let me hold the camera over here, too. So, I think we naturally will gravitate into tons of things. So This is one of my gravitations.
Cool. Well, I want to start by wishing everybody a happy Pride. All of our two-spirited relations out there, including Monique and Diego, who created the jewelry that I'm wearing. I'm wearing our Rainbow Spirit collection, which is now available at tskies.com. So if you want some rainbows. Who doesn't love rainbows?
I don't know if they don't love a rainbow. I don't know what's wrong with them.
It's like I could look at rainbows all day. If I see a rainbow in the sky, I know it's going to be a good day.
Yes.
So happy Pride, everybody. And we actually have Monique's partner, Simone, back there. I see her taking behind-the-scenes pictures. And you guys have been together
16 years.
Holy moly.
Yes.
Congratulations, you guys. Oh, there they are. Aren't they cute? Look at those cuties.
Cheese.
I think you guys are like one of those couples that have been together so long you're starting to kind of look like each other. Do you read each other's minds? Do you like know
all
what
the
other
time?
person's
Half the
thinking?
time she's like, "Geez, do you have anxiety or what's going on with you?" I'm like, "How did you know? I thought I was like hiding it really well." And she's like, "No, I can feel it." I'm like, "Okay," but there's times like I swear to God, like she really will say something. I'm like, I was thinking that. Like, I know that I did not say that out loud.
Yeah, I have that with my husband because we've only been married a couple years, but with the pandemic and being pregnant, I tell everyone we've been married 10. Like, pandemic years are like dog years.
Oh, absolutely.
And hi, babe, if you're watching. Hey, everybody that's up there. I say up there because I see your names up on the screen there. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, shoot. Now I get to see how this really works.
The behind the scenes.
Yes, let us know if you guys have any questions at all.
So we're going to be talking about, this is Monique's jewelry, and she's going to be back here on Saturday selling it. We're just getting a little taste today. Because I wanted to carve out some time just to get to know her. She's a new artist to our show, but she's also working with materials that are very intentional.
Yes.
And they're designed for healing and for different properties. And there wouldn't be enough time on Saturday to get into all of the specifics. So I wanted you to come today so you can talk about why you use copper, why you use these stones and those stones, and what they're good for. So
absolutely. So I think anytime that you are being creative or you have the intention of helping somebody, it's good to know what properties the materials you have actually possess. So with copper, it's actually one of the most healing metals you could possibly have. It's a receptive metal. So in other words, whenever you wear it, it actually brings the energy into your body. And silver actually does that as well. But copper specifically helps with so much inside of the body, arthritis. And again, if you don't believe these things, then just try it. I mean, if it works for you, that's awesome.
Well, we get, oh my God. Angie.
It's okay.
We get a lot excited. Yeah, I got excited. We often, like when we're looking at different jewelry and stones by other artists, people will say, "Oh, what are the healing properties of that stone?"
Yes.
And so I thought it would be cool to what had happened to it.
It fell right.
Oh my gosh.
It's hidden. Yeah, literally each one of these is like a little spiral. So, and it has a piece of sodalite on it. So, sodalite is, it's not meant.
Let's just have it.
Sodalite is actually meant to help soothe in panic attacks or anxiety.
Yeah. Just kidding.
It is connected to your third eye. It helps you to be more communicative. Wow, I'm not
communicative.
Yeah,
here, maybe you need to hold an earring also.
Yeah. But also to improve self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-trust, which I find is what a lot of us lack.
Yeah.
Those are all things that we're constantly seeking.
I think those are all things we're conditioned to not have.
Right. It's like we're always seeking other people's approval instead of finding it within ourselves.
Yes.
You know, so having something on our body that gives us all of those things. And being that I am in the film industry, I am always thinking of things that I can wear whenever I also go out. And I also love wearing things in a different way. So would you like to see how else this chain can be worn?
Yes. Let's make sure also, I see someone say that the screen is frozen. I want to make sure that it's not, I don't want anyone to miss anything. So are we good?
Just on Facebook, it's having some issues, but we still are live, so...
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
it's-
just keep
it's fine
rolling
over
with
here.
it. So, yeah, this stone is pretty. It almost looks like denim lapis, but it's not. It's
Correct. It has
So much
white. It's not necessarily the pyrite that you would see in lapis.
So Monique was, oh my God, she was modeling this before the show started, and it blew my mind. First of all, okay, wait, before we get into that, Monique, I've known her for quite a while.
Yeah.
And literally every time that I see her, she's like doing something different. And not just like, oh, you know, I picked up planting roses. No, she's like, I started doing wire jewelry. And, you know, and I'm like thinking that it's like going to be just like some wire wrapped around it. No, it's this, like incredible. It's like she's been doing it forever. And now what are you doing now? You're speed reading.
I'm speed reading! Guys, I love to read self-help books, obviously tons of metaphysical books. I'm consistently, you know, trying to grow any way that I can to keep my mind stimulated, and I just find it interesting in general. But, you know, it's crazy to like, so the speed reading, since we were on this topic,
Yes,
okay?
tell me.
You know, he brought up a good point. The teacher that I'm learning from, he basically said that common sense isn't common practice, which is huge. In other words, like when you're reading or when you're counting something, we use our fingers, right? Like we'll count down a line, and we're like, I read this many, and we use our finger. But whenever we're reading, we don't use our finger, but yet we know this works. So why don't we use our finger? It's somebody at some point was like, no, you can't use your finger anymore. But the way that we're built, you know, being that we used to hunt, and it's instinctual to have an eye line to follow.
Yeah.
And when we use our finger, we stop from backtracking. And I know it's all... So yeah, using different techniques of even using your left hand. So if you're not left-handed, using your left hand activates the right side of the brain, which gets you to tap into that creativity. Cool. So instead of just reading words, you start seeing images, and in seeing images, you're not actually reading like the whole thing anymore.
That's so interesting.
So I've learned a lot. So yes, we'll go.
Okay, so everybody, hi on YouTube. Hopefully we're getting some viewers on YouTube. Looks like Facebook's being weird. Maybe it'll straighten out later. But just so we're all on the same page with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like with your acting too. When you were when you had the role for Lovecraft Country, you had to learn how to swim. Well, because we're in the desert.
Yes.
Like a lot of this is funny for people that don't live in New Mexico, but for people that grew up here, like we can keep from drowning, but we don't really know how to swim. And
so I got the phone call of like, hey, so how are you in water? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm a desert girl, and my swimming pool was a trash bag with a hose inside of it.
Yes.
You know, holding up the edge. It's like, I got myself my own personal pool. You know, of course I'm not going to say that, right? You know, so I just told them, look, I won't drown, but I wouldn't say I'm a fish. And they were like, perfect, we'll get you evaluated, you know, we'll give you whatever, you know, lessons you need, and then we'll go. It's cool. I was working in Michigan at the time when they had told me all of this information. Oh, also learning that I was going to be in a 24-foot tank, which means my feet will never touch the floor.
Oh my God.
And there's only going to be 4 inches of air above our head from the water line. So if you want to come up for air, you can't just like burst up. You'll smack your head on the top of the area we're going into.
Oh my God.
And there's so much chlorine that when your arms go out, you do this kind of thing, and it's like, they disappeared. You can't see. So they're like, stay right of the camera. And you're like, yeah, I can't even tell where right is. I was like using the wall to like try and guide. But anyways, got back from Michigan. They set everything up. It fell through, and they're like, oh, we'll just get you evaluated when you're in Atlanta. And I'm like, I know, like, I definitely would need that training. I've never taken a swimming class, so I don't know none of the basic terms.
And you were going to be wearing a dress.
And I was going to be wearing this, like, huge, like, this robe. And, like, in my brain, I'm not going to lie, guys, like, I really felt, well, because, like, I have really long hair. And they put even more hair. Sorry, I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, they can see it.
It was like even more hair like in the front, so it was really weighted, and I was like, I'm gonna be in a 20. And it's one thing when you're swimming, everything goes back, right? You're like, cool. But I was like, that's not how film works. Like, you're in waiting, and then they like have you in different areas. So I just pictured the hair and the robe tangling around my legs
Oh
and
my
arms and
God.
sinking me
You're
to
like,
the
"This-
bottom of this tank.
I'm gonna die for my craft.
That's what I felt like. I was like, oh my God. So anyways, no, I got back. I ended up getting a hold of my sensei for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, look, do you know anybody that can teach me, how to swim? And he's like, oh, I got you. Don't even worry. So 2 hours for 2 days, he had me crawling at the bottom of a pool. I learned all the
Oh my
terms.
gosh. And not only that, but you also learned an extinct language.
Yes.
Just tell us really quick about the character, because I think it's
Sure.
a wildly interesting character.
Yes, it really is. So it was really beautiful that they did take the time to actually write an indigenous character into a story where none existed. They did take the time to get someone who actually studied, it's an Arawak tribal language that's been dead since the 18th century.
Wow.
So he's been studying it, and he was able to translate it to the best of his knowledge, all of the text. They provided a phonetic breakdown of it, and then him also saying it, so that way, and then they paired me with a dialect coach to make sure that I was saying everything correctly. So I have over 3 minutes worth of dialogue of me just speaking, not someone speaking over me. So what you actually see in the episode is a very minute portion of everything that I said. So if you guys do want to see that, it is on my Instagram.
Oh,
so
tell them the episode and everything, and the character.
Sure. So it's Lovecraft Country. Mm-hmm. It's episode 4. It's an Indiana Jones vibe. So it is a lot of fun. That episode is a lot of fun. My character's name is Yahima. They are two-spirit. Meaning that in the episode, they chose to do a visual portrayal of it being more intersex by having one portion of my genitalia being a vagina and the other portion being a penis. But that's not obviously what always two-spirit is, so we can go into that as well. I am two-spirit, and that's just the divine masculine, divine feminine inside of a single vessel that is able to tap into those different energies when we need it. So if I'm crafting, then yes, I'm tapping into more of the divine feminine. And if we're talking about fighting or even war or tactics or being linear in thought and getting action things done, then I definitely tap into those. So I am an army brat. My dad would get me up every morning just to work out, beat a bag, and spar, and I loved it. So if it wasn't for my mom being like, Mo, you kind of got, a bigger nose in general, you probably don't want to break it.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, but Mom,
Thanks,
it's
Mom.
okay, it's okay. And
Sounds
she's
like
like, no. But she's been so supportive of me in everything else, and what I love about film is I get to still do all these things, right? I still get to fight, I still get to do everything that I love.
So you're actually the second actor that we've had on this show, which I think is an interesting thing to talk about too, because people that are watching might not realize that Albuquerque and New Mexico has such a huge film community and industry here.
Ooh, you wouldn't have thought.
Hollywood.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought.
Like the tumbleweeds going down the road is actually.
And that's not even from here. Do you know that? It's from China. It's the railroads that actually brought in the tumbleweeds. That didn't actually exist back then.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, it's history.
Wild.
It's crazy. My brain went in like 3 different directions.
I was just saying we have a really big film industry here.
Oh.
And like a lot of people you'll meet are actors. Just like if you were in
good portion.
Hollywood or whatever.
I graduated from UNM with a theater degree, emphasis in acting. I actually had planned on going to California and pursuing my career.
Yeah.
But my last year of being there, Breaking Bad actually had started shooting in New Mexico, and our teacher had actually gotten Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul to do a Q&A with our class.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, it was in that moment, and by the way, guys, like, they're absolutely amazing. They're so down to earth. Their stories are incredible, and they also were very real. So in listening to them, there was 2 things that I noted, was that, one, do I really want to go to California, and go through what they went through? And 2, the industry's coming here.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, the industry's what? Breaking Bad is coming here, and there was actually tons of shows at that time that really were shooting here.
We've got big studios, 2, 3.
Yeah, so right now, actually, Albuquerque Studios got picked up by Netflix, and they bought over 300 acres worth of land. That way they can build and
That's
have
wild.
tons of productions.
I guess I knew that, but didn't really understand what that meant.
Right.
That Netflix. Everyone's saying Netflix is here, and I'm like, I don't really know
Well,
what
it's
that
still
means.
like, I feel like, yeah, there's projects that are going on, but it's not at the full level that
Yeah.
it should be, especially with COVID, right?
Of course.
Like, it makes things so much difficult.
Yeah.
And then I-25 Studios got picked up by NBC Universal.
Oh my god.
So it really is. So that's why you're also seeing like our market change here. So for
Interesting.
housing, because everybody's coming in from New York, California, Colorado, Texas. So we're seeing definitely an
Big
influx
changes.
of people.
Oh look, Facebook's working now. Yay!
Oh, yay!
Well, we are. Hi, everyone. If you're just being able to join us on Facebook, I'll just recap. We're here with Monique Candelaria. She's a local actor, artist, musician. Like, what doesn't she do? She wears all the hats. And she's also a jewelry artist. And so these are some samples of what she's going to be bringing in to sell to you guys on Saturday. But I specifically wanted to bring her in today. Not only is she a fascinating creature and one of my favorite humans, but I wanted her to be able to talk about her jewelry and why she chooses to use the materials that she does, because it's something that's really fascinating to me. And we've had several people just in the course of our shows bring up, oh, well, what is this stone good for? What is this stone used for? And I thought it'd be cool to talk to Monique about what she uses her stones for, what the stones represent to her. So let's go ahead and jump into that.
Okay.
We had got here and then we diverted. So
I know, it's okay.
we should also probably get your Instagram and places to follow you up on there when Marco goes back behind the camera. But you were modeling this earlier, and it's so cool because you thought of it in such a multi-dimensional way.
So, guys, it's summertime. We're going to be wearing tons of things that are more open, and our back is frequently open, and backs can be so beautiful.
Yeah.
My back is big, guys. I don't know, like.
Oh yes.
So I may not have the most delicate back, but hey, occasionally it really is nice to be able to wear something that can decorate.
Especially like if you're going out, or like if you're beaching.
If you're beaching,
on vacation.
I mean, you probably wouldn't want to get this stuff wet, natural oxidization and
Well,
stuff
that's
like
true,
that.
yeah.
But when you want to get dressed up and you want something to, decorate yourself with, I find that these are great, especially when you're talking about self-esteem.
Yes. So this is
so
the
sodalite actually helps with self-esteem. It gives you self-confidence. It helps with anxiety. It keeps you calm, so that way when situations happen, you're like on the outside of that situation. So this piece ends up laying right in the center of your neck. So very
great with
dainty.
your tan too. Copper and tan.
Except for my tan line, guys.
Oh, I've got.
I went to a graduation party, it wasn't a graduation party. It was an actual graduation outdoors at an arena, and I wasn't prepared for outdoors. I didn't realize it was outdoors.
That's been happening to me too.
So yes, let me go ahead and turn around, and you can
Look
tell
how
me if it's not.
pretty that
So it
looks.
decorates
Here,
the
lean
back.
forward a little bit. There.
There we go.
Yeah, it decorates the back. That's, and it's just like dingly and sweet.
So I love things that accentuate in different ways. Obviously, if this was totally open. And of course, if somebody doesn't want to wear it that way, they can totally flip it around.
It's a reversible necklace. Oh, so pretty. I love it. And then your earrings too are fabulous.
Yes, so here are some earrings that
Are you gonna have
match.
earrings like this on Saturday?
Yeah, I'll definitely have some. You will find that a lot of the times, especially with copper, they do oxidize it a lot because it is a natural process, but it's hard to get matching stuff, right? Especially if you're looking to have a set of something.
Right.
So it is nice to have at least something that you can throw on and add it to.
So talk a little bit more about why copper. We got into it a smidge earlier, but it's worth talking about more.
So copper is one of the most healing metals you could possibly put on your body. I actually do have a tale of copper in general. When I was a kid, I had gotten a wart on the side of my hand, so no, it's embarrassing, right? It's something you don't want. So here I am in second grade, and I'm messing with it. I completely try ripping it off, and of course, like, it's bleeding down my arm. And this woman comes up to me, and she goes, "Is that a wart?" And I was like, "Yeah." you know, and she was like,
Poor little
she
baby
goes,
Monique.
get a penny. She's like, and whenever, just on your free time, she was like, just rub it and you'll feel that it gets kind of soft. She's like, leave it alone whenever you have free time, just rub it. Within 3 days, it disappeared.
Whoa.
Okay. I can't tell you how many times that method has worked and no one even knows about it. Like I had a wart on my lip, guys, when I was a kid, baby. And once I realized it was there, you know, I messed with it and it grew. It got, let's see, they froze it 3 times and they stabbed it with needles in order to like get rid of it. That scar on my lip is so big that I really don't have like the curvature. So like I have to put lipstick there. I got my lips tattooed when in my teenage years so that way I could have like the outside line. So anyways, it was a gnarly scar. So to find out that copper could take it away after what they did to torture me.
Oh my god.
Like I was like, why did no one tell me? So
that's fascinating.
whether you believe in the properties of copper, it healing arthritis, or at least alleviating the pain, decreasing swelling, helping to overall improve your lymphatic system. I can't go into
I
all
know
the
that the
details.
people that believe in copper or use copper medicinally swear by it.
So that is something to note too. So when you, so our body flows in this direction from left to right, and I'm sorry if it's backwards on the screen, I don't know if it's flipped. But from left is whenever you want to absorb the properties of whatever stone or metals that you're wearing, you put it on your left side. So even if you have pain in your right, you will still put it on the left side, and what you do is you start whatever piece 2 inches above the actual wrist. You slide it down, and basically it's like leaving trace particles directing the energy in the way that you want it to go, so that when you actually put it on, go ahead and put that on.
Yeah.
When you actually put it on, it knows that it needs to travel up in this direction through the body.
Cool.
So my mom worked at the post office, and she was having a lot of, she's working nights, literally
Yeah.
hulking out on like tons of mail.
Oh my god.
And, her hands and her body started hurting. And I had gotten her copper, and what was interesting, she wore latex to like protect her hands from all the dryness of paper. And when she would take off the latex gloves, it was the right hand that would be green.
Whoa.
So it
From
is
the copper.
from the copper. So obviously the copper's on this side, and she's wearing gloves, but just the fact that it was flowing through her body ended up turning the inside of her glove green.
I'm just reading our comments really fast.
Yeah, I know you're good
Jenny's,
at that.
Jenny's, she's into it.
Yay!
Thank you for sharing your experience.
Sorry, guys,
my
I know some of
wrist
these things
has
are so
been,
embarrassing,
like in a lot of pain since like January. I should put some copper in
You
that.
should.
I'm gonna do it.
It doesn't hurt, and what's crazy is like once you don't have pain, you don't even think about it. So it won't be until you take it off, and then you go, oh, ow, I hurt again.
Interesting.
So copper is beautiful. Plus, it is just honestly, I think, very beautiful and very elegant.
I think it is too. I love it just looks beautiful on your skin.
Thank
It glows. It's like sunlight.
See, and then this is a
And
whole
can you
set,
actually,
so-
if it starts to oxidize a little bit, can you polish it like you would silver?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Didn't
you
know
can
that.
just polish it. Let me show you guys what the earring looks like. So yeah, like the upkeep of any of the metals is the same pretty much across the board. So as soon as it starts like turning colors, you just can get a polishing cloth and go ahead and give it a good little rub down.
And your ring that
Yes!
you and Simone made for each other is
So,
amazing.
I don't know if you
it
guys
looks,
can see
it's like
it.
woven. It's woven copper. I don't know
Yeah.
how else to describe it.
So
Put
yeah.
your hand right by those earrings that are there.
Right here.
Yeah,
I'll put your
yes.
close up.
So pretty. The
There
minute
we-
I
oh,
saw
there we
it, I was
go.
like, oh my god, did
So,
you make that?
Because I wear it all the time, I wash my hands with it, it
Yeah.
ends up getting wet. You can see that it is a slightly darker color than the actual earrings, which haven't been naturally oxidized yet. So you could tell that these are fresh. And then this is starting to get a slight bit of color. So I like the natural
I was
process.
just
I
gonna say,
like how it starts
we
like
here at
changing
T.Skies are
colors.
big on our patinas.
Yes, I love those.
Yeah, and so are the folks that watch.
Oh yes, I do like actually aging a lot of stuff as well.
Well,
so
I
this
think
is
I believe that the energy of the person that wears the jewelry stays on the jewelry.
absolutely.
So my dad gifts jewelry, that's his love language, and he always wears the jewelry before he gives it to someone.
Okay, so let me talk about the process. Whenever I get stones, because no matter where someone says they get a stone, you just never know, right?
Of course.
And with that being said, because if whoever's cutting it or whoever's turning it into like the bead that you need it to be, you don't know what their state of mind is. And the same even for metal. Honestly,
Well, and we've talked about that before. We
Yeah.
had a beadwork artist on here, and she doesn't work if she's not in a good frame of mind, because all of that medicine
Correct.
and energy go into the work. So.
Correct.
So yeah, and with your food too. You shouldn't cook if you're in a bad mood.
Oh
'Cause
no, it really,
everything-
yeah, all of a sudden you're like, why am I even eating this? This
Yeah.
is just empty calories at this point. So I definitely will sage like all of my pieces. So before I even start, I basically like just clean the slate in general,
Yeah.
like completely wipe it of energy. Whenever I'm working with stones, there's sometimes I'll find a stone that I've never even seen before, where I'm like, all of a sudden I end up at a stone shop, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah. I
Well,
can't resist a stone.
I can't. I love them. So I'll end up looking them up. I'll see what their metaphysical properties are. I'll see what their vibration is. And with that being said, whenever I'm actually creating any of these pieces, I focus on that intention. Because whenever you look up these things, they'll have like 10 different words that are like, it can do all of these things.
Yeah.
But picture like layering it across bread, right? Like if this bread is this big and you're just swiping it all across, it's so thin.
Oh, that makes sense.
You want to make sure that what you're programming the crystal to do is actually what it was intended for the person. So if I'm making something for somebody, because that's one of my love languages as well. So since I was a kid, I did make a lot of hemp jewelry, a lot of leather things. And anytime I would embellish or put stones or anything like that, I always make sure that I am keeping in mind like what they need it for, what they need help with. So whenever I'm working with it, you figure these still take 10 hours for me to make.
Oh my gosh.
This took about 10 plus hours to make.
Well, if you can see the detail on it, and on Saturday we'll get more into the detail. It's exquisite. It looks like a weaving.
Yeah, so to go in each time, so just making sure that you have the right like space in between, that way you can come in later and actually embellish the stones that you're putting on top. So there's different processes
okay.
before, like, I mean, that's not including if I were to patina it.
Right.
You know, or like with this one, you can see that it's balled at the end, so having to heat it up and allow the metal to melt
Is that
to
how
create
you
the
did
ball.
that?
And then once that happens, it turns all the metal black. So then you got to clean it. And then once it's clean, then you can work with it, and then you can patina it.
Wow.
So it's sometimes there's just more than one thing.
Tell us about some of these other stones.
Okay, so
That's amethyst, no?
Yeah. So this is
I brought in one of my chunks of amethyst.
I love amethyst. So amethyst is a stone that should be placed in areas that have a lot of movement in them. So let's say a workplace where everyone's coming in from the front door, you know, or central to your home where people are coming through. This is a very calm and balanced stone. So it alleviates anxiety. It also helps the people who are within the area to like deal rationally with the problems that are happening.
Oh, we all need that.
Yeah, instead of all of a sudden getting overwhelmed and frustrated and, you know, not being able to think clearly, suddenly you're like on the outside looking in and able to handle the situation without getting overwhelmed. So I had started working at a payroll company, guys, and all my life I've worked very active jobs. I was a rec leader in my youth. I was a supervisor at recreational sites. I've waitressed so many different places. I've obviously film industry. I'm always on the go. So when I started working at this desk job, I was literally 8 hours at a desk.
Oh, we're going crazy.
And it was all of a sudden I noticed all the things that I don't really pay attention to. So all the people who come in frustrated, where before they even say hello, before they say good morning, they go.
Yeah.
Instantly, because you're like, did I do something wrong? Like, did I, you know?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it triggers you, and then you don't even know if you should say like good morning or not say good morning. I also realized that I do have, I am ADD, and I am APD, so auditory processing disorder. So sometimes I will literally tell people, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not processing what you're saying. So it literally is like gibberish. So it drags. I watch everything with subtitles. I really have to like,
I didn't know that about you.
and I think that's why I am a passionate person, because I find when I have passion in the things that I do, I learn quickly, I absorb it, and it's not hard. If I'm bored, if I don't have interest in the topic, it's like it completely just...
I'm the same.
It's awful. So, but also
So did you use amethyst in the workplace?
Yes, so I brought amethyst with me, and I had a huge chunk of amethyst that I would wear around my neck to keep me balanced, because I was literally having meltdowns, like straight up crying, like at my desk, holding a piece of paper, like typing.
And
it
that's
was
not you at all.
No, it's not. It's completely out of character, and it felt wrong. But so yes, with that, guys, like, I mean, and again, you know, if test it, put it central to your home, put it wherever you're working, wherever there's activity. That way you can see how it works for you in those environments. It's seraphinite. This stone, when you look at it up close, and maybe I should take it off.
Actually, if you put it down, oh, there he got you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sorry, I'm like colored. I'm like orangey, pinky color.
Yeah.
Not so that close instead.
It's okay. You know what? I'll go ahead and take it off. That way you guys can see like the actual color on it.
That camera over there, it's a
okay.
little underexposed. Much better.
Yeah. So if you look at it, there's an iridescence inside of the stone that almost looks, I think it's blurry. There it is. It's starting to focus. It's angelic. It really is, and it looks like feathers are inside of the stone, like an iridescent feather. And this stone is actually connected or correlated to angels and angels' wings. So it's actually supposed to help you connect to the divine, whatever that is for you, and can also amplify the energy of your meditations when you're trying to commune with your guides and commune with whatever you believe in.
With spirit. So pretty.
So yeah, so actually, like, I love that it is on the copper, but if you were to pair this with meteorite, it would be completely amplified, because meteorite, it comes from the universe, basically. It's not from Earth, and it helps you to connect to spirit as well. So
like
that's
on a higher,
correct,
bigger way.
Yes. So like even silver actually.
These are the ones that Devin made. Diego made. This is our set. It's actually available online, so I'll just plug it real fast. But tell us about silver.
Silver actually helps you to connect to spirit within your dreams. Divination. It's for love. And I think because I so frequently am inspired by my dreams, and that's where I feel like I go get all of my inspiration, that let me go ahead and put that there, and I'll go ahead and put this over here. That you're also supposed to use silver when you're meditating, because it helps you connect with spirit in that way. So I kind of feel like this is like everyday wear, like you should be able to wear it to heal your body, but if you're doing meditation, you want to connect to spirit, you should wear silver. It's also
Are you bringing any silver on Saturday?
There will be a couple of things that are in silver. Right at this moment, I do work primarily with copper because of my personal preferences, but there are certain stones that just look more beautiful whenever they are in silver. So
tell us about, is this turquoise?
Yeah, that is turquoise.
Okay, let's look at this sweet little pendant.
So you'll also see in some of the things that I like, obviously there's a lot of spirals in them. Spirals are infinite. It's never ending. It's a constant transition and growth, and being that's how I view people.
I see it as a creation symbol.
It is absolutely creation. And so you'll see that it is in a lot of the pieces that I make. So like in the back, even just to hold in the bead, like you can see that I put spiral in there.
And does anybody have any questions that you would like to ask?
I love that they did put amethyst on their desk. See?
Yeah.
On point.
I love that. I saw that.
She said she should have a chunk.
I read it incorrectly as well.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, those are cool.
So that's the front and the back. So again,
Yeah, they're beautiful either way, honestly.
so that's the back of it where you can see like all of those designs, and then the front is all the spirals. And then if you want to put this one.
Little turquoise.
So whenever I'm making pieces for somebody and I happen to use this design, so I ended up making a lot of this spiral design simply because one, people resonated with it strongly, and being that it is of creation, it's infinite, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm doing the actual wire wrapping, I do like to use numerology. So I will ask people like when their birthday is, what their favorite numbers are, what their figure out their life path number, and then whenever I'm coiling, I'll put that many coils, and then I'll incorporate colors that are associated
Everything is so thoughtful. Every piece of jewelry is a prayer.
It is. It really is. So it's hours of intention behind it. And with that being said, there's also frustration in making things, right? So at the end, even whenever I finish making something, I actually will go back and light rosemary. So that way I can release whatever anxiety or negativity, whatever. I was like, no, this isn't working, so that way I can go ahead and release whatever that is and just keep the good in it.
Awesome. So what are some of your favorite stones to work with? I brought all my favorite stones. These are all my stones, guys. And my husband's grandma collected stones, so this was hers. And we didn't know what it was, but Monique used her app, and it turns out it's pink opal.
Yes, for peace and tranquility.
And then this was her
Herkimer diamond.
Her Herkimer diamond. Sweet Grandma Frankie. Frankie's diamond.
Right now, I'm resonating with Seraphinite.
What you told me about it, that's just
well,
the
it
coolest.
activates the Kundalini. It's attached to the heart chakra. I mean, there's a lot that's inside of like this stone that personally for me right now.
So
I'm
do you
resonating with.
like go into the store and find the stone and then like discover? Like did that speak to you, or did you look it up and then go find it?
No, I go into whatever rock stores that I happen to wander through. Anytime that you are choosing a stone, it is important that you actually choose your stones. How you choose to do so, sometimes it's very visual for people where they're just like, this one calls out to me. And other times it's a sensation. So when you're holding a stone, there is a weightedness to it.
Yeah.
Or people can tell by temperature, suddenly they'll get like a heat wave.
Yeah, I've heard that. My auntie, that happens to her.
For me, I think it's a combination of all of those where I will feel it and be like, oh, this does feel good.
Yeah,
or this
just
makes
gives you
me
like a
happy.
little heart flutter.
Yeah. And sometimes it's funny because like there's some bronzonite pieces that I'll end up bringing in. Bronzonite. I might be saying that wrong. But it's supposed to relieve you from whatever past traumas or past things that are still like connecting you to re-experiencing them over and over again. So even if you have addictions and things like that, this stone actually helps you to be motivated to change that path and go into your new future.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody that watches the show, I think we all have a shared love of stones and can agree that they're creator's gift to us. So it makes sense to me that each one has a medicine and a purpose because, well, everything on the planet does, right?
Well, it's Mother Nature's
it's
bones.
Like her
bones.
Her toolkit, or her like medicine chest.
Yeah.
And her bones, yeah.
It's her bones.
I love that. Whoa, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, that's why it's so sad. Like even for the diamond industry, it's like they only made it really expensive because they hoarded the diamonds.
Yes, I've heard about that whole bizarre. They created the market for it, and they're not as rare as.
It just.
That's why I went with the sapphire for my engagement ring. Oh, I love that though. That one's so cool.
So yes.
Can I touch it?
Yeah,
Just,
absolutely.
Like, the way that it's woven. It's like chain mail? Chain metal?
Chain mail.
It is chain mail.
It's like a strong weave, man. I've been connecting with the spider for sure. That spirit spider is definitely in me right now. I'm like, all right, I got my weave on. What was I going into?
Oh, I don't know. We lost track.
Oh, it's
Does
okay.
anyone have any questions? We're just chatting away up here.
Yeah, they need to speak to you, absolutely. And sometimes, like, that's when I have to not be offended either. There's sometimes when you make something and you love it, and then another person is just like,
You're like, meh.
nope. And that's, so like even with the amethyst, guys, like there is a lot of inclusions in there. You can see a lot of the quartz outside of the really rich, like purple. I like to see that it is real when something looks a little when it's too
perfect.
solid, and that's usually like they'll be like, oh, you know, the great AAA, you know, for amethyst, it's like this really rich dark purple that has no inclusions whatsoever, so it almost looks lab created. And I personally like all of those things that make it unique. So
I was gonna say about this, I forgot to mention it, this seraphinite. Watch, let me put it back over here. Because a lot of our viewers are familiar with charoite. It's basically looks almost exactly like a green charoite. The way that what she described as being the iridescent angel wings are like what I keep calling like the snowflakes in the charoite. It's like this icy white iridescent sparkle.
Yeah, it's like the iridescence marbling effect.
Yeah.
So someone asked, do you feel and hold the stone close to have it speak to you? Not always. Sometimes it almost calls to you where you'll find yourself going in a direction that you didn't even anticipate. For example, I was at the flea market when we could go to the flea market. And I was well 100 feet away from like an area that I was being drawn to. And I swear, like, at the time I was really resonating with Quetzalcoatl. And it's Mexican deity. It's the feathered serpent.
Oh, yes.
And literally, I don't know, I was drawn, and I was with my mom, and I was like, I need to go over there. And she's like, it's all garero. It's all just trash. And I was like, no, it's not. I was like, let's go. So I went, and sure enough, like I turned a little corner, and there was these bookends of, it was malachite, but the whole design was of Quetzalcoatl.
Oh my God, how cool is
and
that?
I was like,
it summoned you.
it really did. So anyways, and now they're in my home. And they're lovely, and they're so heavy because it really does have malachite all the way around it. So yeah.
I was like, don't you remember in The Exorcist when they found an artifact and brought it back? What happened?
She was like, you're bringing in like craziness, and I was like, no, I'm not. It feels
I
good.
feel like you have those moments with Monique more than we know.
Oh,
Where
all
you're like,
the
Monique,
time.
what are you doing?
So I am impulsive
You're
by
throwing
nature.
holy water through the house. I can just see you.
I'm like, going outside first. Let's like sage them and do
Yeah, she's like, don't just bring that in. You gotta cleanse it first. Don't bring that into the house. I'm all, it's okay. We're good. So yeah, with that, like I was literally drawn to an area, and that's happened more than a handful of times, especially in areas where it almost seems like a mess. It's suddenly you find yourself in a spot, and you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Here's my
That kind of happened to me with this one, actually. And speaking of bad energy, the black stones, I love them because they absorb negative energy.
Correct.
But I was in Tucumcari, New Mexico, and there was this random, like, herb store kind of a place that I'd seen a few times, and, like, one day I had no time, but I went in there, and this was, like, sitting there for, like, $10. And I was like, what? I need that in my life. And so it sits in our living room and absorbs all the bad juju.
So I know it is an Apache tear. And when you hold it up to the light, this particular obsidian, you'll end up seeing around you can't see, I'm sorry guys, like you're not going to be able to see this, but whenever you put it up to the light, you'll be able to see through it.
Yeah, at the very edges, it's almost like black glass.
Yeah, it is. It's volcanic glass.
Right.
So
and then right after our wedding, my husband and I were in this little mining town called Manguillon, and he like picked this up and he couldn't put it down.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And I got it for him. So yeah, everything has kind of a little bit of a story.
Okay, so let's quartz. Quartz added to anything will amplify whatever your intention was.
You're pointing that thing.
I do love stones that. So this one is oh my gosh.
Tourmaline.
Yes,
No?
black
Is it?
tourmaline.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
have a lot of black tourmaline. I'm really into the black tourmaline.
Well, it's this one's self-cleansing, so you actually don't. So we should talk about that for a moment. With any stone that isn't self-cleansing, like black tourmaline or selenite will also cleanse itself.
I think.
And citrine. Basically, it gets overloaded right? And it starts to malfunction. So let's say you're wearing black onyx or something that's meant to ward off negative energy. Well, it's absorbed all of those attacks that you had.
You can't.
So when it
hold
gets
anymore.
overloaded, it kind of reverses. So Simone had actually gotten me a bracelet that had black onyx all the way around it. Beautiful piece. I loved it. I wore it. 2 hours in, I start crying. And it's like, what is wrong with me? Like, because there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, am I PMSing? Like, you have a hormonal thing happening right now? Like, what is going on? And it's really, like, really emotional for me when it gets overcharged. So I had to cleanse it. I had cleansed it before putting it on.
So,
and the way you... Sorry.
Oh, you were just about to say. I was going to say, how do you cleanse it?
Some of the best ways to first, see that it doesn't dissolve in water.
Yeah.
Selenite dissolves in water because it's like salt.
Yeah.
Too. So don't put that one in water. But you can wash your stones
I put
with
them in
clean water.
Salt water is what I use.
Even burying them in sea salt, like overnight, will help cleanse out all of that energy. Saging is wonderful to completely just cleanse everything, and it kind of is like the blank slate.
Yeah.
If you want to charge up your stones after that to like rejuvenate them and bring out that luster, you put them out in a full moon or a new moon. New moon is actually where I feel like, both. You can literally, I put out moon water frequently for both of those, so I feel like I'm attached to the moon in a lot of ways.
I love the moon.
But yes, putting them out in
So
the full moon.
when did your interest in stones, like, has it always just been there? And like and their healing properties?
So when I was 13 years old, I actually got into astrology. Basically, I was going through a moment where lots of people like to tell you who you're going to be and how you're intended to grow up, and I was tired of listening to people. So I had gotten into astrology. It was introduced to me by a cousin, but I was able to build my whole chart. And that's when I realized, oh gosh, like, yeah, Aquarius is, my sun sign's Aquarius. But that's just like one portion. That doesn't include everything else. So when I started going, I ended up realizing that my moon sign is in Leo. And I was like, well, that makes sense because I really have a combination of the two. So I realized going through my whole chart that we're a blend of these things. It's not just one thing.
Right.
So I went through all of it. And in diving into that, that's when you realize what stones are associated to what each sign and what that means and how I could personally use it to keep myself on track. So basically I just made myself a promise that regardless of what anybody thought or said, that as long as I was good to myself and good to those around me, then any version of myself was okay at that point. And it hasn't failed me ever since then.
We have a question. Can you speak a little bit about onyx?
Sure.
Do we have onyx up here? I don't think we do. No. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have it.
Sure. So, black onyx is actually, why am I spacing? It's black agate, basically, and they're kind of interchangeable for onyx and agate. But they do dye it, so whenever you see that it's completely black, it is because it has been dyed. So basically onyx is just saying that it's been enhanced, it's enhanced blackness is there.
Oh.
But
so does it usually
it's part
appear
of
with
an agate.
Other reds or greens or whatever?
There are different colors that are there, but I feel like any stone, a lot of the times they like to manipulate it because people always like those one color they don't like to see.
Yeah, we talk about that with turquoise all the time.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. Like, I love to see the veins. I like to see, like, where nature...
Oh, us too.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll show you the
So I'm
stones
not the
upstairs.
only one.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
we love it.
I love
it.
Okay.
Love it.
Our viewers have good taste.
Yes, I love them.
But onyx is another negative absorber, I think.
It is a negative absorber. That is the one that I was saying that just make sure to cleanse it, especially if you do find that you
that was your bracelet was onyx.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
So you want to make sure you have
I would
those
prefer
ones.
to use tourmaline, and I do use this even around my home. So I don't know how spiritual you guys are or what you guys like to do, but I do have tourmaline at the four corners of my home, north, south, east, and west. And also on every windowsill, I do have selenite as like a protective and cleansing to protect my home and cleanse my home.
I love those two stones you just mentioned. What else do we have?
Is there any other questions? Did I say anything that will tell you what you need from them?
What do you know about, where is it? Was it this one? Is this azurite?
Is it that blue one?
Yeah, it's like rainbowy.
Pretty sure that's actually.
I'm not sure.
Azurite. Do we know anything about azurite? It's so gorgeous. It's like a rainbow in there. It reminds me of the back of a beetle.
I actually had just gotten some azurite malachite, so I feel like it's just the metal properties that are within this stone that we're actually seeing.
It's associated with the third chakra.
Is
Or
it
the throat chakra? I'm sorry.
the throat chakra?
Encourages communication from the heart and heightens awareness of spiritual communication.
It's perfect. See, I want you to enhance your communication.
That's Larry's stone. It's perfect for him.
Aw.
Labradorite. What do we know about labradorite?
Oh, I love labradorite. It's actually
Me
to
too.
increase your psychic abilities and intuition. Yes, and it also has that iridescence in it, which is beautiful. I love to use labradorite for meditation purposes. That way I can really tap into what I'm intending to do, which I've had quite the journey, guys. Like, I mean, I'm an actor. That is my main profession. When COVID had hit, there was no work. There was nothing at all. And mind you, like, as an actor, we always have to be available. We're always auditioning. We're always, you know, there is no vacations. Even though we're, like, not working all the time, we're always on hold.
Yeah.
You know, so there's so many things that I didn't get to do. So here COVID hits, and it's like, all of a sudden I have this free time, and yet I can't go anywhere. And I realized how many things I didn't see. And it really actually struck a chord with me, where I was like, well, who am I when I'm not performing? And at the end of the day, I realized that I am an energetic being. That is, and I should be taking care of my temple and you know, looking inside and getting into self-growth. So I did start taking, I don't want to say psychic classes, but psychic classes, basically a method to connect to your own intuition. And the gentleman that I had learned from, you know, I was like, what exactly are you teaching me? Like, are you teaching me tarot cards? Are you teaching me pendulums, you know, or stones, Reiki? And he's like, no, look, everybody has intuition, you know, that knowing when someone's calling you randomly on the phone, knowing when something's just going to happen and you don't even know why you got that intuition. He's like, we always have it. He's like, I want to teach you how to tap into what you have. That way you never feel like you don't have that ability. So he actually uses a method where we visualize roses. And roses is one of the highest frequency objects.
That's what I've heard.
Life.
Yeah.
It has a higher frequency than humans and any other plant life. So that's why it's used for so many rituals. So in visualizing a rose, there's so many visual aids in there, right? How big are the thorns? Are there thorns? How big is the stem? Like, is there support, or is it like flimsy? Is it open? Is it closed? Is there a lot of leaves? You know, so there's a lot of things that you can end up telling. So using labradorite, I really do feel like helps me to tap into like my intuitive self and trusting myself. So sometimes you just have to say whatever you're seeing, because you'll start out with an image inside of your mind and you're like, this makes no sense. And then you say it out loud and they're like, oh yeah, there's this.
So did labradorite play a role in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I use a lot of stones for meditative work, which is obviously outside of just jewelry work. An example of this, oh my gosh, it's moldavite. Okay, moldavite.
Is this the crazy stone?
This is a crazy stone.
We'll have a few minutes left, so we'll have to not get too into the, because I know the story.
Okay.
So we'll get cliff notes.
Cliff notes. Cliff notes. Moldavite is really, truly powerful. Just like this has the ability to calm a whole room, moldavite is basically allowing everybody to suddenly face their demons. And that means that if you are not just using it for yourself, so for me, I realized that using it for myself in meditation is wonderful. I can tap into all those things I need to fix. It can enlighten me in a different way. But when I wear it out in public, I suddenly see everybody else's demons and they are totally on edge, doing crazy things. And I'm like, whoa, no, I didn't sign up for this course, because they're not in a mode to improve themselves.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. With anything that you wear, with anything that you use, with anything that you create, you know, it's it's so important to, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Again, this is like my brain going.
That's all your crystals
Moldavite's not
here.
a stone, it's a glass, right?
It looks glassy
No.
by the images.
Moldavite is a glass from like a meteorite crashing.
No, you're. Well, look that up real quick.
So tell us, because we only have a few more minutes, tell us about what we're going to expect on Saturday's show.
Okay. So on Saturday's show, these
You
pieces
do
that
that,
you
yeah.
see here will definitely be there. So if you guys resonated with them, definitely take the time to look up the properties of each of these stones, because even though like I put energy into it, you can absolutely cleanse it and use it how you see fit. I will have a bunch of like very simple ones that, I took it out. That look like either little snakes, things that are very elegant that you can pair up with anything. So some simpler ones.
I love those. They're just so elegant.
Thank you. And I do have more of like it almost looks like a steampunk vibe, where it has more of the twists and the turns around the stones.
Cool.
Basically just an eclectic little mix of everything to give you guys an introduction to some of my work.
Which is MKC. Wait, did I say that right? MKC.
Yeah.
Which stands for?
Metaphysical Kaleidoscope of Consciousness.
Yes, and also your initials.
Yes. My full name is Monique Candelaria. But the Metaphysical Kaleidoscope of Consciousness is something that I coined because your reality is based on your perception of your experiences. So depending on how you choose to focus that lens dictates whether or not you're seeing your reality in a rose-colored, lens, or whether you're seeing it in something else. So
Okay.
if you guys actually go to my Instagram page, I dove into acrylic painting, and that I really do feel like an essence of its creator gets poured into the pieces. And so yes, take a look. I will end up putting like whatever I see in there as well.
And your jewelry on Saturday, will it be like a lot of different stones, or is there kind of like just a few?
Well, like I said, I have been
themes?
resonating with this one, so
for sure.
you will see a couple of pieces with this. But it is a mixture of stuff, so
Cool.
You guys will definitely see some other things for sure this weekend. And the thing is guys, that this is my passion right now, and I hope that you guys can. This is something that I primarily share with my family and my loved ones as personalized gifts, my love language.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
In a moment where we do have a little bit more time, I really do want to share what I can with those around me. So if it calls to you, definitely try to get it. Go ahead and look me up as well.
Yes.
If you just type my name into Google, Monique Candelaria, you guys can
Marco's
see.
putting it there in the comments.
Awesome.
Your link.
Yes. You guys can see my IMDb page to see all of my film works. So overall, I am a shifter, and I hope that other people will start identifying as such. But I transition from all of my passions, and when I have the time to share it with others, I do my best to share it.
Yeah.
And so in this moment, I'm sharing this with you guys, and I hope that it resonates with you.
Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you've created for us on Saturday. And thank you everybody for hanging out with us and talking rocks. And we will see you back here tomorrow. Oh, I think Marco's typing a little something.
Someone lost all of their stones.
Oh, hurricane. Oof. Well, now's your chance to get a few
I
more
also,
back.
if you guys also want to follow my other Instagram link, it's Mocha, MOCA 369. And let me think of where else. If you guys like some of my art, if you type in Fine Art America, Monique Candelaria, Fine Art America, you guys can end up getting my art on. It's like a shower curtain, even.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about people being all naked thinking of me, but you know what? Like, it's I really love the site. They do a wonderful job.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah,
That's
are
so
you okay?
cool that you're on it. I love that.
Yes. So, absolutely take a look, guys, and thank you. Thank you for joining me in this, and thank you for talking about pride and the ability to recognize that we're a little bit of everything, and we're constantly shifting through all of these
A kaleidoscope.
our kaleidoscope. Yes, and yes, be you, be true, And don't feel like you have to say anything to anybody. Like, nobody needs to know everything about you. It's a privilege.
It's true. It's
You know,
good
so
advice.
I love to make people guess. They're like, wait, what are you again? Are you
You're
are you?
mysterious.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
I'm like, that's exactly what I am. And
She's
I can
Monique.
switch tomorrow.
All right, everybody. We'll see you here tomorrow.